his clothes out of the closet and put them on. Then he crossed out, "Get dressed." Toad put the list in his pocket. He opened the door and walked out into the morning. Soon Toad was at Frog's front door. He took the list from his pocket and crossed out, "Go to Frog's house." Toad knocked at the door. "Hello," said Frog. "Look at my list of things to do," said Toad. "Oh," said Frog, "that is very nice." Toad said, "My list tells me that we will go for a walk." "All right," said Frog, "I am ready." Oh my gosh, look at Frog. He's much taller than Toad. Frog and Toad went on a long walk. Then Toad took the list from his pocket again and crossed out, "Take a walk with Frog." Just then there was a strong wind. It blew the list out of Toad's hand. The list blew high up into the air. "Help!" cried Toad. "My list is blowing away. What will I do without my list?" "Hurry," said Frog. "We will run and catch it." "No," shouted Toad. "I can't do that." "Why not?" asked Frog. "Because," wailed the Toad, "running after my list is not one of the things I wrote on my list of things to do." Frog ran after the list. He ran over hills and swamps, but the list blew on and on. At last Frog came back to Toad. "I'm sorry," gasped Frog, "but I cannot catch your list." "Blah," said Toad. "I can't remember any of the things that were on my list of things to do. I will just have to sit here and do nothing," said Toad. Toad sat and did nothing. Frog sat with him. After a long time, Frog said, "Toad, it's getting dark. We should be going to sleep now." "Go to sleep," shouted Toad. "That was the last thing on my list." Toad wrote on the ground with a stick, "Go to sleep." Then he crossed it out. "There," said Toad. "Now my day is all crossed out." "I am glad," said Frog. Then Frog and Toad went right to sleep. Look at them. Look at them sleeping. Look at them watching the sunset together. Oh my gosh. They're so cute. Okay, next story. So these books have tons of, I think 5 mini stories in each one, right? Yeah, I think so. So this next one is called The Garden. If I can't get through all 3 of these, maybe I'll make a part 2 or something. Or perhaps if I get through 2 of them, I'll go live and read the last one. I don't know, we'll figure it out. You guys will have to let me know in the comments. Frog was in his garden. Toad came walking by. "What a fine garden you have, Frog," he said. "Yes," said Frog, "it is very nice, but it was hard work." "I wish I had a garden," said Toad. "Here are some flower seeds. Plant them in the ground," said Frog, "and soon you will have a garden." "How soon?" asked Toad. "Quite soon," said Frog. Toad ran home. He planted the flower seeds. "Now seeds," said Toad, "start growing." Toad walked up and down a few times. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad put his head close to the ground and said loudly, "Now seeds, start growing." Toad looked at the ground again. The seeds did not start to grow. Toad, what a goofball. Toad put his head very close to the ground and shouted, "Now seeds, start growing." Frog came running up the path. "What is all this noise?" he asked. "My seeds will not grow," said Toad. "You're shouting too much," said Frog. "These poor seeds are afraid to grow." "My seeds are afraid to grow?" asked Toad. "Of course," said Frog. "Leave them alone for a few days. Let the sun shine on them. Let the rain fall on them. Soon your seeds will start to grow." That night, Toad looked out of his window. "Drat," said Toad. "My seeds have not started to grow. They must be afraid of the dark." Toad went out to his garden with some candles. "I'll read the seeds a story," said Toad. "Then they will not be afraid. It's like you guys are my seeds, and I'm reading you a story." Toad read a long story to his seeds. All the next day, Toad Toad sang songs to his seeds. All the next day, Toad read poems to his seeds. And all the next day, Toad played music for his seeds. Toad looked at the ground. The seeds still did not start to grow. "What shall I do?" cried Toad. "These must be the most frightened seeds in the whole world." Then Toad felt very tired, and he fell asleep. "Toad, Toad, wake up," said Frog. "Look at your garden." Toad looked at his garden. Little green plants were coming up out of the ground. "At last," shouted Toad, "my seeds have stopped being afraid to grow. And now you will have a nice garden too," said Frog. "Yes," said Toad, "but you were right, Frog. It was very hard work." Okay, we're going on to our next story now. It is called Cookies. So I'm pretty excited for this one because I'm a big fan of cookies. Toad baked some cookies. "These cookies smell very good," said Toad. He ate one. "And they taste even better," he said. Toad ran to Frog's house. "Frog, Frog, Frog," cried Toad. "Taste these cookies that I have made." Frog ate one of the cookies. "These are the best cookies I've ever eaten," said Frog. Frog and Toad ate many cookies, one after another. "You know, Toad," said Frog, with his mouth full, "I think we should stop eating. We will soon be sick." "Oh, been there." "You are right," said Toad. "Let us eat one last cookie, and then we will stop." Frog and Toad ate one last cookie. There were many cookies left in the bowl. "Frog," said Toad, "let us eat one very last cookie, and then we will stop." Frog and Toad ate one very last cookie. "We must stop eating," cried Toad, as he ate another. "This is like the story of my life, you guys." "Yes," said Frog, reaching for a cookie. "We need willpower." "What is willpower?" asked Toad. "Oh my god, I'm Toad. What's that? I've never heard of that." "Willpower is trying hard not to do something that you really want to do," said Frog. "You mean like trying not to eat all these cookies?" asked Toad. "Right," said Frog. Frog put the cookies in a box. "There," he said, "now we will not eat any more cookies." "But we can open the box," said Toad. "That is true," said Frog. Frog tied some string around the box. There, he said, "now we will not eat any more cookies. But we can cut the string and open the box," said Toad. "That's true," said Frog. Oh my god, Toad is me. Who's Frog? My little sister. My little sister's Frog, I'm Toad. Frog got louder. He put the box up on a high shelf. "There," said Frog, "now we will not eat any more cookies. But we can climb the ladder and take the box down from the shelf and cut the string and open the box," said Toad. "That's true," said Frog. Frog climbed the ladder and took the box down from the shelf. He cut the string and opened the box. Frog took the box outside. He shouted in a loud voice, "Hey birds, here are cookies." Birds came from everywhere. They picked up all the cookies in their beaks and flew away. Sorry, I burped. "Now we have no more cookies to eat," said Toad sadly. "Not even one." "Yes," said Frog, "but we have lots and lots of willpower." "You may keep it all, Frog," said Toad. "I'm going home now to bake a cake." Oh my god, why is Toad mean? That's the end of the story. That is freaking hilarious. So Frog is Toad. Wait, I'm confused. Yeah, Frog is like, "No, we can't eat anymore." Toad's like, "We could if we wanted to." So he feeds the cookies to the birds, and Toad's like, "Well, I'm going home to bake a cake. Screw you." Okay, next story is Dragons and Giants. Frog and Toad were reading a book together. "The people in the book are brave," said Toad. "They fight dragons and giants, and they are never afraid." "I wonder if we are brave," said Frog. Frog and Toad looked into a mirror. "We look brave," said Frog. "Yes, but are we?" asked Toad. Oh, sorry, here's the picture. Frog and Toad went outside. "We can try to climb this mountain," said Frog. "That should tell us if we are brave." Frog went leaping over rocks, and Toad came puffing up behind him. They came to a dark cave. A big snake came out of the cave. "Hello, lunch," said the snake when he saw Frog and Toad. He opened his wide mouth. Frog and Toad jumped away, I am not afraid, he cried. They climbed higher, and they heard a loud noise. Many large stones were rolling down the mountain. It's an avalanche, cried Toad. Frog and Toad jumped away. Frog was trembling. I am not afraid, he shouted. Oh my god, Toad, come on. You're gonna get yourself killed. Here's the picture. They came to the top of the mountain. The shadow of a hawk fell over them. Frog and Toad jumped under a rock. The hawk flew away. We are not afraid, screamed Frog and Toad at the same time. Then they ran down the mountain very fast. They ran past the place where they saw the avalanche. They ran past the place where they saw the snake. They ran all the way to Toad's house. Frog, I'm glad to have a brave friend like you, said Toad. He jumped into bed and pulled the covers over his head. And I'm happy to know a brave person like you, Toad, said Frog. He jumped into the closet and shut the door. Toad stayed in the bed and Frog stayed in the closet. What? They stayed there for a long time, just feeling very brave together. I'm confused. Why is Frog in the closet? That's it. That's the end. Why was Frog in the closet? I'm confused. Okay. I think this is the last story in this book. The dream. Toad was asleep and he was having a dream. He was on stage and he was wearing a costume. Toad looked out into the dark. Frog was sitting in the theater. A strange voice from far away said, presenting the greatest Toad in all the world. Toad took a deep bow. Frog looked smaller as he shouted, hooray for Toad. Toad will now play the piano. Very well, said the strange voice. Toad played the piano, and he did not miss a note. Frog cried, Toad, can you play the piano like this? No, said Frog. It seemed to Toad that Frog looked even smaller. Toad will now walk on a high wire, and he will not fall down, said the voice. Toad walked on the high wire. Frog cried, Toad, can you do tricks like this? No, peeped Frog, who looked very, very small. Frog is shrinking, guys. What's going on? Toad will now dance, and he will be wonderful, said the voice. Frog, can you be as wonderful as this, said Toad. As he danced all over the stage, there was no answer. Toad looked out into the theater. Frog was so small that he cannot be seen or heard. Frog, said Toad, where are you? There was still no answer. Frog, what have I done? Cried Toad. The voice said, the greatest Toad will now. Shut up, screamed Toad. Frog, Frog, where have you gone? Toad was spinning in the dark. Come back, Frog, he shouted. I will be lonely. No, don't take Frog away. I'm right here, said Frog. Frog was standing near Toad's bed. Wake up, Toad, he said. Frog, is that really you? Said Toad. Of course it's me, said Frog. And are you your own right size? Asked Toad. I think so, said Frog. Toad looked at the sunshine coming through the window. Frog, he said, I'm so glad that you came over. I always do, said Frog. Then, oh wait, here's the picture. He was having a bad dream, guys, that his best friend, or lover, disappeared. Then Frog and Toad ate a big breakfast, and after that they spent a fine long day together. I'm gonna cry. Like, I'm actually gonna cry. Why are they so cute? Let's read the back of the book quick. Frog and Toad are friends. They take walks together. They eat cookies together. They play games together. And sometimes the things they do together are scary. Yep, So, a cute little backstory to this. The other night I read the first story in this book. It's the only one that I've read beforehand, and you'll understand why after, but it encouraged me to clean my room, do like 3 loads of laundry, organize my drawers. So, thank you, Frog and Toad, because I would have been very stressed. You'll see why in a second. So, let me read the back of the book quick. Toad asked Frog, "Don't you like to be scared? Don't you like to feel the shivers?" And Frog told Toad a ghost story. Sorry, guys. Oh, that's weird. 5 wonderful, funny stories about Frog and Toad, best friends. Okay. So let me read you this story that encouraged me the other night, and I hope that it encourages you as well. So, this story is called Tomorrow. Toad woke up. "Drat," he said. "This house is a mess. I have so much work to do." Frog looked through the window. Toad, you are right," said Frog. "It is a mess." Toad pulled the covers over his head. "I'll do it tomorrow," said Toad. "Today I will take life easy." Frog came into the house. "Toad," said Frog, "your pants and jacket are lying on the floor." "Tomorrow," said Toad, from under the covers. "Your kitchen sink is filled with dirty dishes," said Frog. "Tomorrow," said Toad. "There's dust on your chairs." "Tomorrow," said Toad. "Your windows need scrubbing," said Frog. "Your plants need watering." "Tomorrow," cried Toad. "I will do it all tomorrow." Did I show you the pictures? Toad sat on the edge of his bed. "Blah," said Toad. "I feel down in the dumps." "Why?" asked Frog. "I'm thinking about tomorrow," said Toad. "I'm thinking about all of the many things that I will have to do." "Yes," said Frog. "Tomorrow will be a very hard day for you." "But Frog," said Toad, "if I pick up my pants and jacket right now, then I will not have to pick them up tomorrow, will I?" "No," said Frog, "you will not have to." Toad picked up his clothes. He put them in the closet. "Frog," said Toad, "if I wash my dishes right now, then I will not have to wash them tomorrow, will I?" "No," said Frog, "you will not have to." Toad washed and dried his dishes. He put them in the cupboard. "Frog," said Toad, "if I dust my chairs and scrub my windows and water my plants right now, then I will not have to do it tomorrow, will I?" "No," said Frog, "you will not have to do any of it." Toad dusted his chairs, he scrubbed his windows, and he watered his plants. "There," said Toad, "now I feel better. I'm not feeling in the dumps anymore." "Why?" asked Frog. "Because I have done all the work," said Toad. "Now I can save tomorrow for something that I really want to do." "What is that?" asked Frog. "Tomorrow," said Toad, "I can just take life easy." Toad went back to bed. He pulled the covers over his head and fell asleep. So, a funny story about Frog and Toad books. When I was in elementary school, like I said, my librarian used to read them to us, and then we actually had to write a story for class. And you know the way they put like Frog said, Toad said, like every sentence? Well, in the story, that's what I did with every single character, and my teacher got so mad at me. She's like, "This isn't how you write a story." I was like, "That's what they do in Frog and Toad." "What do you mean?" "I learned it in library, lady." Okay. This next story is called The Kite. Frog and Toad went out to fly a kite. They went to a large meadow where the wind was strong. "Our kite will fly up and up," said Frog. "It will fly all the way up to the top of the sky." "Toad," said Frog, "I will hold the ball of string. You hold the kite and run." I hope you guys enjoyed the page turning sounds. Toad ran across the meadow. He ran as fast as his short legs could carry him. The kite went up in the across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. The kite went up in the air and fell down with a thud. What a joke, said the robins. That kite will never get off the ground. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is a joke, he said. It'll never get off the ground. We have to make a third try, said Frog. Wave the kite over your head and jump up and down. Perhaps that will make it fly. Toad ran across the meadow again. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. The kite went up in the air and crashed down into the grass. That kite is junk, said the robins. Throw it away and go home. These stories are a little repetitive, aren't they? I guess we didn't notice when we were younger. Here's the pictures. Toad ran back to Frog. This kite is junk, he said. I think we should throw it away and go home. Toad said, Frog, we need one more try. Wave the kite over your head. Jump up and down and shout, up, kite, up. Toad ran across the meadow. He waved the kite over his head. He jumped up and down. He shouted, up, kite, up. The kite flew into the air. It climbed higher and higher. We did it, cried Toad. Yes, said Frog. If a running try did not work, and a running and waving try did not work, and a running, waving, and jumping try did not work, I knew that a running, waving, jumping, and shouting try just had to work. The robins flew out of the bush, but they could not fly as high as the kite. Frog and Toad sat and watched their kite. It seemed to be flying way up at the top of the sky. Moral of the story is never give up, right? There are just cute little lessons in these books that I love and that I actually listened to when I read it. So, we've read quite a bit tonight. If you guys do decide you would like a part 2 of this video, I would love to read the rest of this and Frog and Toad all year. So please let me know. I can film this soon, I can film it later, whatever you guys want, just put it in the comments. So I really hope that you enjoyed that. I had been planning to make this video for a while. Actually really not that long. I just found these books like a couple weeks ago, and I just remembered that warm fuzzy feeling that they gave me when I was younger, and I feel like I really wanted to bring that nostalgia into my videos and hopefully be able to give you that feeling as well. If you also had these books read to you as a child, I feel like this video will be even more relaxing and comforting. So let me just give you a little preview of this book quick before we end the video. So this is Frog and Toad all year. It said Frog is late